needs to be news who decides, right? I mean, it might be Barkadat at the center, or it might be Payal at the local level. But like the Bangalore model, where you're at least involving some social causes in there. But at the same time, it's a choice between you're basically describing yourself as unbiased, objective, and all that. But it's still very, very top down, right? And ideally, an ideal model in my mind, I may be wrong because Sajan is the expert here in community radio, and maybe Supriya also. But for me, a genuine community radio is where it's run, operated, decided on by the stakeholders. And yeah, you run into problems of knowledge and other kinds of things, but they can be facilitated in the initial thing and then transited to the actual people running it themselves. But I'm the outsider, I don't know much about community radio, but in terms of convergence of technology, all these anyway become moot in a few years, I think, because we are moving towards a completely new media kind of environment, where I'm actually talking to PV Satish and others about doing multimedia on the net for Sangam Radio. And because, I mean, it's all going to be one screen anyway, your telephone, television, internet, your radio, everything. And that is when I'm more excited, because what my bride talked about in the 1970s and 80s about one world and many voices, when the whole non-aligned world was crying about a balanced news order, it really has the potential to come true, because on the web I can access my local station in Connecticut sitting in Singapore, right? So the plurality comes from there in terms of I can access Sangam Radio if it's on the net. I don't need to be in that 50-mile radius or whatever. And that, I think, is the true potential of new media in terms of community radio, in terms of things. And it's very easy to do. It's practical even now. And if you have to see an example, for all of you have iTunes, go into the radio channels. There are at least 10 or 15 Hindi radio stations run by individuals. Just Hindi songs or whatever. And you don't run into controls, you don't run into licenses, you don't run into anything. But that's the kind of future I'm looking at in terms of small radio stations and small content producers and blogs and other kinds of things. I'm a big fan of blogs, I'm a big fan of those things, because it definitely gives you that freedom that but again, you run into issues of credibility, you run into issues of accuracy and other kinds of things.
Are you talking about podcasting?
Podcasting, everything, I mean, all those are basically different modules. They all tie into the same kind of larger thing, which is a multimedia kind of content production. Right? So you can have audio casts, you can have podcasts, you can have SMSs, you can have radio stations online, anything. It is just that the technology doesn't matter. I'm just talking of the spirit in terms of the convergence that Madan was talking about. So it is just about content production. We do Asian Voices, which my staff, Kalima and Taruka, just source very interesting alternative stories. They even done a story on Bollywood music, because for them, both of them are from Sri Lanka. For them, Bollywood is very exciting. But they also did a story on Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. They did a story on film music in the Philippines and other kinds of things. And they put it up as this audio files that different radio stations download. Anyone is free to download it off our website. And they use it in their programs. Similarly, different community radio. I know Sangam Radio does some interesting programs. If they made it available, other people would be able to really use it. And that is where the multilingual option becomes important, because what we are experimenting with is to create a program and give a script with it. That people, we have basically an international track and the interviews. So the international track can be substituted by whichever language. That if someone in Thailand is downloading it, they'll get a copy of the script, they'll get a copy of the audio, and all they do is translate it into Thai and record the voiceover, and it's ready to go. So that's the kind of alternative options I was looking forward to. But pretty much it requires a tremendous sense of commitment over a period of time. It's very good, especially with blogs and all. It's very, the biggest problem with blogs is everyone starts a blog within the first 3 months they're dead. So it requires tremendous amount of commitment to keep them going, and especially Chitrabani Radio. I mean, I'm a big fan of Father Robert, so which is where that's my 2 bits.